What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? You're live here in the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live. And if you're not already doing so, do us a favor. Hit that react button. Give us a like and a love. Give us a share. Join us here in the comments as well. I am your host, as always, the Sauce God. Joined here with my co-host, as always, Mr. Mike Shimburski. You can check me out at Buffalo Sauce God across all social media platforms. And this show is presented by Duff's Famous Wings and also presented by www.buffalosaucegod.com. So for tonight's show, Mike and I are going to discuss around the NFL for Week 7, and we're going to discuss the Bills falling to the Patriots at a 29-25 loss that we saw plenty of opportunities for this Bills team, but again, we're seeing a lot of woes happening the last few weeks. So Mike and I are going to talk about that. We're also going to break down a preview of the Tampa Bay game that's going to take place on Thursday night in Buffalo. So Mike, how you doing this evening, brother? It is, obviously a little tougher week, coming off a loss, but how you feeling tonight?
I feel pretty good. I mean, overall, as just a general person, but as a Bills fan, it's been a struggle. It's just not the season that I expected, but we'll dive into that later. I mean, we have plenty to talk about as it is. That I don't want to take away too much from the show.
Yeah, of course. And so, like I said, Mike, we've got a killer show planned here tonight. We're going to discuss the Bills and the Patriots action and exactly where we think the Bills could have gotten better and as far as what we think for the Bills' current title hopes and all that and much more right here in the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show. So we're going to go ahead and play a little introduction video. And Mike, this week I believe it's gonna get you a little fired up here, brother. Because I'll tell you what, man, I got a new song.
I could use some firing up.
Made its way onto the brand new intros that was actually not custom made for me, but it is titled "Sauce" by a local Buffalo artist by the name of Mark Lee. So guys, hit that react and share button. Let's get it going for the Sauce God and Shimburski Show right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live.
Let's get this over with. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's simple, baby. Buffalo Bills football is heck, all right? And we tell you something.
We're going to crack a cold one because since it's a tailgate.
Ooh, ice cold, Mike. Let me tell you. Ice cold, nice, refreshing Labatt Blue. Here, stormy, J817.
It's a cold front, is what that is.
I'm whipping the sauce, I'm tripping, of course, I want it all. All of my dogs be running with God. Your mama, you're holding your pennies in bra. Cause when I get whipping the sauce, he taking it off. I'm dancing on tracks like stomping the yard. We keeping it quiet, we moving the signs. But now we starting to riot, yeah. Keeping my eye on the prize. I got me a queen, we riding like Bonnie and Clyde. Trips to Dubai, the way I be blessing. I'm destined for changing my decimals. Decibels hitting the wave, I'm rapping incredible. Splitting their head like a cantaloupe edible. Got me so high, I'm touching the sky. Of course, I give it my all. I'm whipping the sauce, kicking the door. But then we been here before. She ain't involved, well, she ain't involved. Taking my shot, even if down, we tying the score. Do your dancing on twist, don't stress.
All right, so we're live here for the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show right here on Facebook Live, YouTube and Live, and this is presented by www.buffalosaucegod.com, where you can check out more content from the Sauce God, as well as chicken wing reviews and merchandise options too, especially for some of you guys that want some Buffalo Bills looking apparel for Champion Apparel and some really great apparel options. Check out www.buffalosaucegod.com, and this is also presented by Duff's Famous Wings, the best damn chicken wings that are out there. Check out the original location on Sheridan Drive. So Mike, let's get to it, man. We start the show off every single Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We started out with Around the NFL. Let's keep that same trend going here, Mike. Why don't you go ahead and pull up the scores and take us through the action in Week 7 of the NFL, showing us a consistent trend of how weird the NFL really is. Mike, what do you got for us?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't say it any better than that. Weird is the right word this season. You got the Jaguars beating the Saints 31-24. Falcons taking on the Bucks. The Falcons pull that off 16-13. Real barn burner. Raiders lose to the Bears 12-30. And Browns pull it off without Deshaun Watson 39-38 over the Colts. The Giants get a win 14-7 over the Commanders with Tyrod Taylor playing for them. You got the Ravens beating the Lions 38-6. The Bills losing to the Patriots 25-29, as we all know. The Cardinals 10 losing to the Seahawks with a score of 20. Steelers beating the Rams 24-17. That was an interesting game. I watched some of that. Steelers stole that one. And Chargers 17-31, going down to the Chiefs. And then Packers and Broncos. Broncos get a win there, 19-17. And then Dolphins losing to the Eagles, 31-17. And then to cap it off, the Vikings squeaking out a victory over the Niners, 22-17.
Now, Mike, you see that I also have the option up for you guys on the bottom ticker there for 716-800-1772. We're going to open up a hotline for you guys to start calling in next week. You guys will be able to call in. And real fast, too, before we kind of break into something around the NFL action, I am live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern on the Roku app for the sit-down. I'll also be doing that on Mondays, I believe, and maybe Thursdays. So it looks like a little bit of a daily afternoon show with the Sauce God in the sit-down where I'm going to cover not just the NFL and Buffalo Bills football, but also the world of sports. I'm sure you definitely will see this guy, Kirby, who has been on here before, actually, to represent his Jaguars very, very well, by the way.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you'll probably see him in the sit-down as well. So if you guys are just now tuning in, though, don't go anywhere. We're just getting it started. We're talking around the NFL, but this is the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show. Hit the react button. Join us here in the comments. If you're on Twitter, too, by the way, you're going to have to do me a favor. Retweet this just for the heck of it, right? Like it. Make sure to follow me if you're not already doing so. And then join us on YouTube at Buffalo Sauce God so you can join us in the comments, right? Make sure to subscribe to the channel, too, and turn the notifications on so you don't miss any content for your daily source of sports entertainment and daily entertainment. So, Mike, let's go into the Cleveland game. 39-38. It's like, what? These two teams can't score. You got Myles Garrett out there hopping over offensive lines to block kicks. You know, the guy's out there basically playing football for Cleveland, right? He's not just playing defense. He's winning games. Myles Garrett is wreaking havoc. But the reason I want to talk about this is because obviously you're a quarterback guy, Deshaun Watson. Now, I said this right away. We all knew his list of teams he would, waive his no-trade clause for, and the Cleveland Browns were not exactly one of those. He told them, I'm good. Until they counter-offered, basically, with, oh, you're not good? You're good? Well, we're going to give you 5 years, $235, fully guaranteed. It's like, wait, what? Fully guaranteed? Oh, so you're going to give me $250 million to come play football for a miserable franchise. I love you guys over there in Cleveland, and I'm not bashing you. Believe me, I love the Dog Pound. I'm very, very relatable to the Dog Pound by all means. I'm just saying that Deshaun Watson gets $250 million. He's obviously going to take that. You'd be stupid not to. And whether you have ambition to go and win a Super Bowl title, that's life-changing money for yourself and for your family and for your future and whatever else. I don't care what anybody says. And even if you don't want to be all about the money, it's hard to turn down $250 million, which allows you to basically do whatever you want to do. And that's fully guaranteed for 5 years of your life. And if he's still got some left in the tank, sure, he can go play for another Super Bowl contender. But what do you make of Deshaun Watson? Is he really kind of trying to sit this out a little bit, Mike? Or do you really think that he's hurt?
No, I think he's not motivated. I don't think that, it shows when he hasn't been in, they've been winning games. I believe this is their second win, right, without him, or maybe it's their first. I do believe. I thought they won one more time. I thought they won before this week. I thought they won last week without him. Either way, doesn't matter. All I know is that when he's in there, he doesn't look. He just looks like a quarterback going through the motions. If you ask me, I think he's just doing the bare minimum of whatever is asked of him, and he doesn't really go above and beyond what you used to see when he was in Houston, where he was making highlight reel plays almost every other week. And it's just not happening with the Browns. I think they're actually better off without him, if you ask me, as an organization.
Yeah, Mike, I think that Deshaun Watson is an incredibly talented quarterback who did some really great things in Houston with, at times it seemed like inconsistent receivers. I know that he had DeAndre Hopkins, and obviously we all know in Buffalo that he was able to beat us in a wild card playoff game. But it is astounding to me to see a guy go through all the legal ramifications he had to go through and all of what he had to go through for that whole situation, which I'm not here to comment on that, and then just to kind of get to this point and not show up for your team. And I don't care. At the end of the day, Cleveland made a stupid decision, obviously, because you're seeing them win without him, and you're seeing them they got talent over there in Cleveland. And in fact, I believe that with the way that the Bengals are playing this year, if Cleveland really could have had Deshaun Watson playing the way that he should be playing, that they could be one of the best teams in the AFC North. I mean, the Ravens right now, in my opinion, are maybe the best team in the AFC, but it's disappointing to see, especially because I feel for the dog pound. I feel for Cleveland fans. Mike, we relate to it. You know, we watched our franchise suck. We're up in the Northeast. We're on Lake Erie. You know, there's a lot that goes into that. But Deshaun Watson, 5 years, $235 million. You want to see a return on that investment, and you're definitely not seeing that in Cleveland. So, you know, and obviously they lost Nick Chubb for the year, and that was probably much the heart and soul of their offense. But they have Amari Cooper over there. They got some really good talent over there, and they have. I just don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and they brought back Kareem Hunt, who looks like he's actually doing his part over there, as at least as in a Nick Chubb fill-in. He looked pretty good last week.
Now, Mike, I want to ask you right away, and if you guys are just now tuning in, you're live here with Sauce God and Shimburski and the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Mike, overall, other than the Cleveland and then the Cleveland and Indianapolis game, I want to talk about the Eagles and Dolphins before we get into the Bills Patriots action, as well as the preview for the Bills Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But what did you think was probably the weirdest game in the NFL this week?
I was going to go. You bring up we'll talk about the Eagles and Dolphins together, but for me, the Vikings and San Fran last night or the other night there on Monday was quite an interesting game to watch. The San Francisco 49ers, they don't seem like they look the same lately the past couple weeks. And the Vikings definitely pulled it out with some turnovers. Their defense stepped up. You know, and maybe they're starting to figure out Brock Purdy. I'm not sure. We won't get to know that answer for about a week because I believe Sam Darnold's going to play for them this week coming up. But I'm starting to see some decline on their offensive production, maybe because some people are injured and that's just causing them not to have the same rhythm as before. But he definitely made some poor decisions, and the Vikings made him pay for it. I thought it was an odd win when it should have just been something for the Vikings, and it should have just been a kind of a cruise control game for San Francisco.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to San Fran, you know, Deebo Samuel was out. You know, you see that Christian McCaffrey came into the game questionable. Trent Williams was doubtful. I don't think he played, and obviously, so that's one of the best left tackles in football, arguably the best left tackle in football. But I think you're right that teams are starting to see a little bit more of how to figure out how Brock Purdy plays the game of football. Because, hey, let's be honest, the kid is playing at an elite level, and he has all year, and he has since he's really come in and stepped in as the starter for that San Francisco team. But you know, the NFL does eventually kind of figure you out a little bit. We saw it with Patrick Mahomes. We all kind of thought that he ran something that would be unstoppable for, you know, a freight train that was just going to be nonstop with the Kansas City offense. And then you see that there are ways to slow them down. Same thing with Lamar Jackson. It's the same thing with Brock Purdy right now, but I think that Brock Purdy is the type of quarterback that will figure it out. Instead of being figured out, he'll figure it out because he's got he's got Shanahan over there. And Shanahan obviously is an offensive guru and can listen, you got 3 different quarterbacks that played for you basically last year, and you're still one of the best teams in football. That's saying something.
It does say a lot.
And of course, San Fran is a well-built team defensively and offensively, and there's a lot that they have going for them. But I think that Brock Purdy is still going to be just fine. I know some people were a little concerned, you know, after seeing him lose back-to-back weeks. One to Cleveland, in which they could have won with a field goal, but that didn't go their way. And obviously this week, but I did see that Brock Purdy is in concussion protocol. So right now it looks like Sam Darnold is slated to start the next game for the Niners. Mike, let's go on to the Dolphins-Eagles game. 31-17, the Dolphins lost to the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. A.J. Brown had another 100-yard game, and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are looking in sync, and that Philadelphia Eagles team, even though it might not look as efficient as it did last year, is still rolling, and they're only at 1 loss, and in my opinion right now deserve to be probably considered the number 1 team in football at this point, especially with some of the wins that they have. Mike, what do you make of the 31-17 victory, and what do you make of Tua's performance under 300 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception, and Tyreek Hill under 100 yards, but he did have 11 catches and a touchdown?
You know, I think it's the only thing that kept me from feeling like the sky was falling last week. You know, after the Bills go down to the Patriots, I was not in a good mood, and then the Eagles, they go and they take care of business against the Dolphins, and it made me feel a hell of a lot better because now the Bills are only one game behind the Dolphins at this point, and there's still hope in the division in itself, So there was that, and then I think the way the performance wise, I think they took a lot of what the Bills did, and they took some of the blueprint that the Bills put out there on film on how to slow these guys down. And I didn't think that the pace that they were on was going to be sustainable anyway, as far as them putting up the amount of points that they consistently did. This is what you're going to see when they start coming up against good defenses and good teams. You're going to see more of a human-like performance than what you're used to seeing. When they play the bad teams, of course, they're going to throw up their points. They're going to get their wins. But I thought the Eagles did a great job slowing down the speed that team has and limiting, what they like to do by force feeding Tyreek Hill when they can, and it didn't put him in any sort of one-on-one situations, because that's where the Dolphins are really thriving. When you put single coverage on Tyreek Hill, they almost notice right away, and that's where that ball's going. And so I thought the Eagles did a good job kind of keeping it as a zone defense and not putting any corner out there alone against Tyreek Hill. And I do think he also hurt himself because he has not practiced, I think, all week, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, Mike, I like it. Good stuff. And if you guys are just now tuning in, you're live here in the Scott and Shimburski Sports Show presented by Duff's Famous Wings and www.buffalosaucescott.com. We're live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also live on the Roku app weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as noon Eastern Standard Time for the sit-down. A couple comments real fast. Mama Montage, that's Lance's mom, Nancy, saying hello to your co-host as well, and saying hello, Anthony Hopeball, as well. Nice show. Thank you very much, Mama Montage.
Hello.
God bless you, and Hopeball as well. Well, Mike, some little segue off of the NFL talk for a moment, just so you guys know, the World Series will be starting this Friday. The Diamondbacks will be taking on the Texas Rangers. Both in 2021 had over 100 losses. Right now, baseball playoffs, Mike, are intense.
Crazy.
Drama-filled.
Crazy.
Know?
And then where they're at too with I didn't expect this World Series. That's an odd World Series. This is strange.
No Dodgers, no Astros, no Phillies, no Yankees. No Cubs, none of that. No Cardinals, no Giants. You got the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. Really cool stuff, though, of course.
Yeah.
And the game of the MLB is sped up quite a bit, Mike. It's definitely a different game. And if you guys are looking for some great sports action, give baseball a try again, because it is very exciting right now, especially with what we're seeing.
They did a great job with adding that.
Rangers too. What's that, Mike?
They did good with adding that timer for the pitcher, so the pitcher can't just sit there and hang on to the ball forever. It's like a shot clock in basketball.
Eliminating the shift, too, was a good idea. And also, too, I think that the way that they made the bases a little bit bigger so that it encouraged stealing a little bit more, I think that they made some small, minor adjustments that are actually good for the game of baseball. But the one that they should do is let Pete Rose in the damn Hall of Fame. We all know that he should be in there.
yeah, there's that.
Anyways, Mike. So, also, too, the Sabres are currently in their season as well. We got NBA action on tonight. It started last night. And so tomorrow we got Thursday Night Football for the Buffalo Bills at home against the Buccaneers. So for tomorrow's show on the sit-down, I'll have some free picks for the game for all you guys out there that are sports bettors. But, Mike, let's go ahead. Let's segue into our next topic. Let's talk about this topic that is difficult to discuss. We're not exactly.
I thought we were avoiding it. With the other sports.
It's tough, Mike. But you know that we come in here and we give everybody a great perception and we give everybody a different outlook on it. But we're gonna be honest here. I'm not gonna cut anybody any slack today. I'm gonna give the Patriots and Fat Boy Jones his credit today. But the Bills fell to the Patriots 29-25. The Patriots were able to come out, score first. The Bills came out with their first offensive drive. Josh Allen threw a pick right away. And that seemed to be how the game was going to go from that point. Now, Josh Allen struggled there in the first half, but after that first interception, he did respond with a much, much better performance, and he kind of tightened things up, and he was able to find ways to get the ball moving. But even when he was getting the ball moving, Mike, drop passes, penalties, and we were seeing constantly the woes on offense continuing, like we saw against the Giants, that we saw against the Jacksonville Jaguars, that we saw against the Jets. It's almost like, what the hell But then again, I'll say this: it's a divisional game. It's the New England Patriots, and they might have been 1-5 with an underperforming quarterback. But the New England Patriots are coached by Bill Belichick, and whether or not this whole debate, if he is a fraud or if he's as great of a head coach as he is, the guy is a great head coach, and he's won at this level consistently with teams that maybe weren't even competitive. Hell, the year that they lose Brady and they got Matt Castle, they find themselves right there as well. So my whole point is that I see this loss. I saw the way that the game went. I think there's some minor things that could be tuned up, Mike. But a lot of people are calling for Sean McDermott's head. A lot of people are calling for Ken Dorsey's head. A lot of people are calling for Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs' head. I just think, guys, Dawson Knox, I'm looking at you, dude. You had drops that are inexcusable. 4th and 2. What is that? Hands of stone? General Stonewall Jackson? No, we need a first down, General Stonewall Jackson. We also see, Gabe Davis had 6 targets. He had 1 catch. Just miscues. This team is just not getting it done, and I don't know if it's the pressure. I don't know if it's distractions. I don't know, but I'm not exactly worried yet because we are still, as you see on the banner, 4-3 overall and 1-2 in the AFC East. All right, and we still have to play the Patriots one more time. We still got to play the Jets one more time. And we still got to play the Miami Dolphins one more time. So we have a chance, really, Mike, to get to 4-2 in the AFC East. And like I tell people all the time, if we go on to win the rest of the games this year, does this 4-3 start really matter? No, but it is concerning. There are concerns. We are seeing, with the injuries that are taking place on both sides of the football, that it's affecting us. And so, Mike, immediate reaction to the Bills, 29-25. I mean, what do you got for me?
My immediate reaction was, there are problems on this that need to be fixed. I mean, they just don't look like themselves, and I wish I was in that locker room to know what it is that's really causing such a slow start for the past couple games. Like you said, immediately the first play, interception. And I feel like that was a miscue. I don't know if Josh just didn't see him. He was trying to, maybe that was one of those plays where you're throwing to a spot that the receiver's supposed to be. And, instead it was just the defender waiting for the ball. Regardless, I like what you're saying because, at the first, when that happened, I would probably, when they lost and it became official that they lost, I was very frustrated because I know that the talent on this roster can produce way more, and it's already been proven just this season. So they just got to figure out really what it is that's gone wrong and fix it. But I'm with you on the fact that, let's not blow this out of proportion. If they do win a whole bunch of games after this and, these 3 losses become out. But you're right. I mean, if you don't pay attention to the flaws now, it's not like you can just go on autopilot and win out. So I think there is reason for concern. But if there wasn't, then you're not paying attention. So they know, and you and I know that there are some changes that need to be made. And I guarantee that they're not just going to practice and thinking, "Oh, we're good. We don't have to change anything." So it's going to be important for us to really pay attention to see what they do to fix it. And hopefully they do it soon so that not everyone can worry about these 3 losses if they end up becoming nothing anyway.
Yeah, and this comment right here, too, he says, Joey Hatch, by the way, a weekly viewer and listener of the show, man, we appreciate you for tuning in again. Go Bills, 12th man. Misfits, you know what I'm saying? But I think his shoulder is hurt more than they are letting off. I definitely could see a little bit of that, but I don't blame the shoulder. I just don't. I don't see him throwing. I don't see throwing errors. I see drop passes, and that's not.
I see some
shoulder. I mean,
I saw some. Hang on, though. I saw some inaccuracy. There's definitely some inaccuracy last week. I mean, there was times where I'm like, where are you throwing? And some of those throws, they could have been not placed so high. You got to try to, if your guy's going to, sometimes you got to throw your receiver open. If he doesn't have that much separation, you got to put a ball in a place where only your receiver can get it, and also put him, in a position of success. You can't have your receivers always trying to bail you out and make a spectacular catch.
Yeah, Mike. Audio still good, by the way. You can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to check real fast. But if you guys have not already done so, do me a favor, hit that react button, hit the share button, join us here in the comments. And you are live here on the Sauce God and Shimburski show, the sports show, live every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Presented by www.buffalosaucegod.com and Dub's Famous Wings, the best damn chicken wings in the world. But Mike, all right. So yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of inaccuracy at times. I'm seeing Josh just kind of not having that same confidence throwing the football at times. But then, if we want to talk about his shoulder and we want to talk about the inaccuracy, what about the absolute bullet that he threw to Stephon Diggs that he could have caught? I mean, granted, it was a tough catch to make, but he could have caught it. No? Yeah, I mean, so it's throws like that I see that I still believe
Yeah.
Josh is okay. I think, he's going to be, he takes a beating. He does. That's the way he plays football. So he's going to be a little banged up at times, but he's the type of guy that can work through it. And I think, again, take away so many of those drops. I mean, even just the 4th and 2 with Dawson Knox, that gives us a chance to maybe score on that drive, and then maybe score on the next drive, and hypothetically win the game at that point, right? But we're going to go into the next segue here, which is actually a great opportunity because some of the comments that I'm seeing right now. But Bills' offensive struggles continue. Now, Mike, I know some people want to blame Ken Dorsey. Some people want to blame Josh Allen. Some people want to blame Stephon Diggs. I just want to blame the drop passes. Because, again, I don't see great teams dropping passes like that in critical moments like that where it can make the world of a difference as far as how your offense is going to continue to function for the rest of the game and how you're going to, what the result of the game is going to be. So I don't want to put all this blame on Ken Dorsey. I think that there's still, again, Brian Dable needed a couple years to kind of figure it out too. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to give him an excuse, and I know that our title window is very, very slim, and we don't want to make excuses for anybody, but at the same time, I just saw this team put up 48 on Miami. I saw this team put up 38-10 against the Vegas Raiders, 37-3 against Washington. It's just execution, guys. I know people want to say, we don't have a ton of pre-snap movement. We don't throw a lot of screen passes. We don't necessarily need to. Just because other teams do it doesn't mean we have to, in my opinion. But there are definitely some things I could see that we could do differently, or times that we call plays. It's kind of like, what are you doing? But that happens with any coach, any scheme. I want to honestly say that I believe in Bills Mafia. We have just grown so accustomed to how good this team can be that we forget that they're human. And we forget that this is the NFL where they play against professionals who are, the best at their profession. I mean, I'm telling you, even the most scrub player in the NFL, anybody watching this show, more than likely, you're not going to be able to compete with them athletically. Just saying. Because this is the NFL. This is a professional sports league. So the Bills' offensive struggles continue. I think Josh kind of needs to do one thing, though, Mike. And this is one thing that I think could make the world of a difference. He needs to run the football a little bit more. Whether it's by design runs and not that little rinky-dink one at the end with the lateral that didn't go very well for the last play of the game, by the way. I'm talking about how he could pick up first downs with his legs. I mean, I get that he can improvise and scramble and he can make the throw. And yes, that's what you want him to do. But he also beats teams with his legs, and he makes them respect that so much more that it opens up the field that much more for him. And I'm not seeing Josh take off for so many runs. And it makes me honestly believe that this is more of a, we're taking Josh away from being Josh. Mike, I mean, what do you got to add to that?
Yeah, actually, I think about this a lot. I have quite a bit of a car ride home from work, and that's something that I have thought about quite a bit. I noticed, he's always looking to throw it, even in those 4th and 2 or 3rd and short. He scrambles and then he's looking to pass first, which is what he should do. But I think he's taking away an element of his game that was there that defenses had to respect, and it made a whole nother element to the offense that they're just taking away at this point. He also said, I don't know, I really wish that I could resource to where I read it, but I saw an article where he actually said to the media that he tends to think too much now, and he needs to just stop thinking so much and play football. And I agree. I think what's happening is he's got so many people chirping in his ear, play safe, play smart, don't run so much, don't take hits. And he's thinking to himself, oh, well, coach said this, coach said that. And, I gotta make sure I slide at this moment if I do run, or I just gotta look for it and find the guy and just rely on my teammates. And at moments, sure, but if you have a lane and it's just 4th and 2 and you need this first down, or third and long or something, and he sees a lane, he needs to start taking it and just go back to being the Josh of old and just play football. Because what's going to happen is I know he's worried about getting hurt, and everyone's about getting hurt, but it's football. And when Josh was just running over linebackers and leaping over guys, yeah, it's dangerous. But that was the best version of Josh that the Bills have had. And he needs to go back to that and just being Josh and play a little bit more free than they've allowed him to as of late.
I think the whole putting a lid on Josh Allen is exactly what part of the problem is. And also, though, part of the problem is that he does need to play smart and, not this conservative stuff, though, but like I said before, and like my buddy Drew said, smart, not conservative. We saw that in Miami. We saw that against the Raiders. We saw that against against the Commanders as well. That's what we need more of. And, I mean, Joey's got a bunch of good comments, by the way, and I love it, too, because even if he says a couple things that are in opposition of what I say, it's all love. At the end of the day, we all have the same love for the Buffalo Bills. But Josh Allen has been hurt twice sitting in the pocket. They need to unleash the Mustang and let him run free Josh Allen from the pocket. I agree. And it doesn't need to be via read options. It needs to be via play action passes where Josh is an absolute monster. That's one of his specialties in play action. So I think freeing him up, letting him just go out there and play football. You know what I mean? Don't go out there and try to win the Super Bowl. Go out there and play football. And that's exactly what got you to where you are in the league right now. And that's what has him such an elite, has him as one of the best quarterbacks in football. I don't want to say it's all on Ken Dorsey or anybody, but it's the team. The team needs to address this. The team needs to tighten it up, and the team needs to find a way, because we don't have very much time, obviously, in between now and Thursday night, which is just tomorrow. So we had a short window, four-day window, basically, to kind of tune things up. But, Mike, the Bills feeling losses on defense. Yeah, they definitely are. No Matt Milano. We're seeing, Ramondre Stevenson would not have broke that, long catch off the way that he did at the end of the game if Matt Milano is out there, I'd like to believe. If Tre'Davious White is out there, I'd like to believe. And if Von Miller, healthy, is on the field as well, because, we're not seeing our best players on the field in those critical moments, and that's why we have these guys. So I understand people are wanting to see more out of Von Miller, but, dude, coming off an ACL injury and for how much money we invested in the guy, let's just trust the team medical doctors to handle this the way that they have to. Because, honestly, I don't know shit about it when it comes to injuries. But I do know this, that you can't rush guys. Seeing rumors about a linebacker from Minnesota, never even heard of the dude. What are we doing? Actually, I heard good things about that kid up in Minnesota. Mike, I might need you to look that up here in a brief moment. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But we are live here on the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is presented by www.buffalosaucegod.com, where you can get more daily entertainment and more content from the Sauce God and things like the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show. And also, this is presented by Duff's Famous Wings, the best damn chicken wings in the world. We are live here talking about the Buffalo Bills fallout to the Patriots 29-25. And Mike, the Bills feeling the losses on the defense. What do you make of the current situation and for the guys that we currently have playing for the defense?
So I think that the Bills on defense are actually trying to do the best they can with what they have, which is something they need to do on offense, and take that advice, because even though they allowed the Patriots to put up the amount of points that they did, throughout that entire game, was there never a moment where I felt until the very end that the Bills couldn't win this game. So this has been for 2 weeks straight, though. Even without the starters, even against the Giants, the defense held up well enough. Actually ended up winning the game against the Giants for the Bills. So I'm not as worried about the defense as probably everybody else is. do think that they maybe need to make a move, at linebacker, which I did look that up for you really fast. It pops right up. It must be that hot of a rumor. But his name is Jordan Hicks.
Yep, Jordan Hicks. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if they make a move, I'd be fine with them trying to add some depth there in the linebacker position. But I don't think that Williams is playing terrible, and Bernard's been playing very well. Especially when he had Matt Milano next to him. I mean, let's be real, that was a huge difference maker. But overall, for how many injuries they have, as far as performance-wise, they're doing about what I would expect. They're still playing well enough to keep the offense in games. If the offense can get back on track and find their traction themselves, the Bills are going to be okay with the defense that they have. I mean, I wish everyone would get healthy. I'm totally on board with you with letting Von Miller get back to 100%. Through a pitch count, you can't just throw that guy back out there and expect him to be that top level pass rusher. Let him kind of get back into it on his own. I'm sure we're going to see a peak performance from him towards the end of the season when he's fully healthy. They have guys performing at a high level on that defensive line right now. AJ Epinesa is stepping up. Leonard Floyd is doing fantastic. And so it's not like they don't have playmakers. Greg Rousseau. So what I'm getting at and where all of it is that I think the defense is actually playing better than expected based on those injuries. And so if the offense can figure it out, the defense is going to be okay.
Yeah, Mike, good stuff. Honestly, the way that you just summed it up is beautiful. If the offense can figure out how to get to its way of playing the game of football for 60 straight minutes, like you saw Joey Hatcher say, I think this defense is not going to feel those losses as immensely. You're still going to feel them. There are still going to be times that you could have gotten off the field, hypothetically, with certain guys on the field versus who you currently have out there. But still, next man up, we definitely have a ton of depth. We have great coaching. We've got great talent around this whole entire team, regardless of injuries. So, the Bills might be feeling the losses on the defense. But again, the offensive struggles have got to tune up if we want to make this football team truly a contender the way that I know that it can be. So, Mike, we're going to go ahead and move into our first segment here after I take this final comment. It was supposed to say the offense is not scoring points, so no matter what the defense does, it's pointless. We need to play 60 minutes of football. I like that very much. We're going to go into the first segment here. Bada Bing, Bada Boom, the good from the game. Which, is there very much? There is definitely some things to take away.
This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away. You got to get them close like this. Bada Bing! Bada Bing!
Bada Bing, Bada Boom. You know what I'm saying? That's the good from the game. And for this week, there's not very, very much to take away. But I will say there is one thing I'm going to take away that was good for me. And that was Dalton Kincaid. The rookie had his best game as a rookie in his first year with the Buffalo Bills and first year in the NFL. And he posted over 80 yards, over seven catches, I think it was. 7 catches for 85 yards or something like that. And he definitely was a bright spot for this team. This kid catches everything. And I think we're seeing, if you want to get some of these offensive struggles to go away, feed Kincaid. And I love Dawson Knox. It's not a good thing that the guy got injured by any means. I don't like it. And I hate that he got injured, and I hate that we have to lose a guy that is a part of our core, even with his struggles. But I do want to say that this presents an opportunity for the young rookie to find his way into this offense and to find a way to become a difference maker and for us to utilize what we drafted him for. And that's his hands, and that's the way his athleticism works. Because if you saw Mike, there are a couple times he's shoving some tacklers off him. You know what I mean? He definitely can break tackles. He's a big guy, and it just looked like a bruiser against the Patriots. And he looked like one of the only guys that had that mentality to kind of go against them. And he might have some of the best hands in the NFL. If he can continue to play this way, the Bills have got to find a way to allow him to become more instrumental in the offense. But Mike, what do you got for Bada Bing, Bada Boom, the good from the game?
Again, I really like that kid. He not only did he do decent when he was asked to run the ball, but I thought he had a very nice catch downfield from Josh later on in the game. It might have been third quarter. That deep pass from Josh all the way out to Cook. I love his versatility. I like that he can not only does he have ability on the football, but he can go offer passes like that. That's wide receiver out there. I love seeing how he's evolving and really becoming a core piece to the offense.
Mike, good stuff here. And, like I said, it's tough to take away good things from this game, but you have to find the positives. You have to find a way to turn something good from this game, because I'll tell you what, it's good for morale, and it's also good for building off of, and allow yourself to kind of come back and find a way to get yourself back on your feet and continue this quest for a Lombardi trophy. But Dawson Knox is a fly-by-night player. He might catch a couple balls, then he disappears for weeks. You can't do that, Mike. What do you think about that?
I see. So I want to comment on this because I feel like the usage of him isn't always the same. They use him a lot more to block than anything. So it's tough. When he has good games, it's because they're asking a lot more of him to go out for passes, and they kind of scheme that week where they're going to use him a lot. Other weeks, he's just an extra lineman that lead blocks and kind of stays in for pass protection again for Josh. So he's a versatile player. I don't think that you're actually going to see him go anywhere unless you can afford him. But I mean, with his injury past and his performance, I don't think he's going to be that expensive to keep around as a versatile player while we develop Kincaid to be the pass catcher.
And this comment right here, actually, we gave Dawson Knox the extension a couple off seasons ago, not this previous off season. So we didn't give him an extension and then draft a tight end. You know what I mean? So by all means, we actually gave Dawson Knox that extension a couple seasons ago. And hey, he's got it. Definitely, we want to see a return on that investment as well. But with the positive from the game, we've got to have the bad from the game, because like the good, you've got to have the bad so you can learn how to pick yourself back up off your feet. So we're going to go into the next segment here of Forget About It right here on the Sauce God Shimburski Sports Show.
What's forget about it? If you disagree like a Lincoln is better than a Cadillac, forget about it.
Forget about it. What's the bad from the game, Mike? I'll tell you, man. The fact that we let a 1-5 Patriots team led by the failing Mac Jones come in and have his best game of the whole damn year. And I'm going to save most of that for me getting saucy at the end. But I'm going to say this. Overall, this team showed up in the second half. This team showed up in the second half against the Giants. This team showed up in the second half a little bit against the Jaguars. But there's 60 minutes of freaking football to play. You need to show up for the whole game. It's like I say to people at work, Mike, when they're standing around and I'm waiting for them. I go, just wait for you to clock in. Just wait for you to clock in and let's get going here. So overall, there's a lot of bad plays. There's a lot of bad moments from the game. But I just think that this team has not showed up in the first half. I don't know if we're still jet lagged from London. But come on, it's been like 3 weeks now, guys. We got to get back to normal here and start playing 60 minutes of football like we did against the Miami Dolphins, like we did against the Raiders, like we did against the Commanders. And the Commanders and Dolphins aren't really scrub teams, in my opinion. Just saying. But, Mike, what do you got for Forget About It? What made you say Forget About It from this week in the game?
I saw the officiating, not the whole game, but the fact that they picked up the flag with no explanation of illegal man downfield on the end of that game. I don't understand. He was like 10, 15 yards downfield. The center was. If it's a pass play, he can't be that far downfield. And I don't care what anyone says. Even if the ball didn't cross line of scrimmage, whatever, it was a forward pass. Therefore, he can't be that far downfield. They don't have an explanation. No one said anything. They just picked up the flag. That makes no sense to me. If anything, that gets gated. They go at second down. And they have to, figure out something else, then they're not going to run the same play. So maybe the outcome doesn't end up being the same. But you got to play better football for it to come down to one play. But I just thought that was a terrible call. Forget about it.
Yeah, like you said, you don't want it to come down to that moment. Obviously, they had several opportunities to win this game regardless. But come on, J.C. Jackson is trying to go steady with Stephon Diggs in the fucking end zone, and they don't call that illegal contact, but they call that slight little turn up field for the Patriots illegal contact, which allowed them to continue their drive as well. So the officiating was very inconsistent. Again, Mike, and I definitely agree with that. We're not blaming the game on the officials by any means, guys, but we're saying it could have been better, and it could have made a small difference at the end of the game. Just saying. So let's keep it moving, Mike. We've got to talk about the next segment here of the weakest link. And before we get into this, guys, if you haven't already done so, do us a favor, hit that like, hit that love button, hit that, I don't care, hit the laugh react for all I give a shit. Make sure to share this, comment with us. Join us on YouTube if you're watching on Twitter, retweet it. Come on over if you follow me.
Thumbs down if you
join
got
us
it.
on YouTube so you can join us here in the comments at Buffalo Sauce God, which is also me across all social media platforms, and at www.buffalosaucegod.com. So let's keep it moving, Mike, with the weakest link of the week, which is what was the area of the game that was weakest for the Bills. Let's play this video, and even though he played good against us, it still always makes me laugh. What area of the game was weakest for the Bills? It's simple. It's simple. Catching the ball. Catching the ball. I mean, guys, all you got to do is look at, I played receiver for a lot of years, Mike. This, you make the try. Look at Jay-Z over here, right? You got to make the triangle. You catch it, you squeeze, you haul it in, okay? You get it, you look it in. I feel like I'm listening to my freaking coach from Modified Football right now, Manager Frida, going, X-Men, get out here, catch it, look it in. You know what I'm saying? But what are we doing? Stephon Diggs, you want to sit there, and I love him, and I'm not saying nothing bad about him, but you want to sit there on the sidelines, throwing up your hands and, breaking tablets like Ken Dorsey did and shit like that, then you need to catch that football at the end of the game that would have put us at the 30-yard line with 5 seconds to go, because we still had one timeout, and that would have given us a legitimate shot to still win the game at that point with everything else that happened, Mike. So again, weakest area of the game for me was the way that we caught the football. Dawson Knox, don't think he's got hands. In fact, he's just having surgery on his wrist, for crying out loud. It must be because of the hands of stone. That's all I'm saying. If the Bills can tune that up, I think they're going to see a lot more consistency for their offense and a lot more fluidity. Mike, so what do you got for me, brother? What do you think is the weakest area of the game for the Bills this week?
I think, allowing the Patriots to get some third down conversions, and extending drives. I hope that they can stiffen up this week on Thursday and, get some 3 and out, get some breaks in there, make them punt more often and not make it so it's a situation where, you clamp down when it gets into the red zone, but they got 3 points in their pocket at that point. If they don't, turn the ball over, they're going to kick that field goal. And if you're not scoring points like the offense has been lately is stagnant, that can become a problem because you get down early in games.
Good stuff, Mike. I like it. So far, we've had great segments here. We discussed the Bills, Patriots, tough loss for the Bills, but of course, it's something for us to build off of. We're live here in the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show, presented by www.buffalosaucegod.com and Duff's Famous Wings, with your host, the Sauce God, and Mr. Mike Shimburski, who will also be having his debut of the QB sneak video to hype up his segment a little bit here, too. And Mike, I'm thinking,
All right,
if you're getting a little fired up on that QB sneak, which is coming up here in just a few moments after we start to discuss the Bills and Tampa Bay game, but Mike, if you get a little fired up, we can add some clips of you onto that segment a little bit too to kind of get you even more fired up before we go live with it. So let's go ahead to the next one here. We're going to discuss the Bills and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which will take place on Thursday night, tomorrow night, in Orchard Park. And it is an opportunity to play against a team that is, it's got its areas of struggle, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing all right. Baker Mayfield's playing all right. But, Mike, it's an opportunity at home on primetime for the Buffalo Bills to win a game and maybe kind of find themselves back on the right track. 5-3 sounds a heck of a lot better than 4-4. But how are we going to get there? Well, we got to talk about the offensive keys and the defensive keys. So let's start it off here with victory formation. Mike, I'm going to let you start this one off here, brother. What do you got for the offensive keys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Hey, Mike, I got no audio on you right now. Okay, Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep, you're good now, brother. What do you got for us? What do you got for the offensive
All right,
team?
sorry,
for the
man,
Tampa Bay
sorry.
Bucks?
Yeah, I was talking away. No one was listening. All right, they need to do is go into that hurry up that we saw against the Patriots, and then almost towards the end of the Giants game, started to come alive. Let Josh Allen call the plays, and go into the huddle with like 3 different plays, and then let him just kind of call it as he sees it, and then just get right back to the line and run another play, and just go right down the field and start fast. They had a lot of success that way when they're in that 2-minute drill or a 4-minute drill. When you're just kind of winging it and calling plays on the fly, it looks like they're getting better production that way. And I think, I was listening to WGR 550. They were saying Dawson Knox said, at that point, you're just playing football. Well, I think that's what they need to get back to, is just playing football. That's what they're all good at. That's why they're pros. So just let Josh call the plays and go in the hurry up immediately. Why wait till the third quarter when the game's almost out of reach and you're just asking for them to get a touchdown because they haven't done anything all game? No, start now. Start in the first quarter. Start on the first drive. Get points. Start fast. Get ahead. That's the keys. Start fast. Get points and get ahead in the very first half. Let them play catch up. That's the keys. This game Thursday is what I need to see from them.
Kind of to coattail off you here, Mike. I'm gonna say, the Bills need to play faster, and whether it's via the hurry up offense, the 2-minute offense, it just seems like this team plays smooth, right? They control the clock, they control momentum, they kind of wear you down defensively, and they kind of just, the way that they were winning games was moving the ball down the field, taking a lot of time off the clock, and finishing with points on every drive. And if we had to punt the football, it was after picking up some first downs. Moving the football still, right? Winning the battle of field position. That's going to be huge for us this week, too. But I could see the Bills needing to play faster. And whether that's by taking a deep shot, whether that's by some pre-snap movements, whether that's by throwing in some screens, you got to find a way to get these guys moving a little bit. You got to find ways to kind of get the defense a little bit on their toes. I think when you do that, too, the way to do so is involve James Cook a little bit more in the passing game, too. You saw he had 3 catches for 46 yards, Mike, and a touchdown. That was an area of highlight as well. James Cook has played really great in the running back 1 position. I think we need to let him be more of a focal point in this offense, too. We're seeing right now our receivers are struggling sometimes with the drop passes. We're seeing our tight end, Dawson Knox, struggle with drop passes. We're seeing penalties kick our asses, right? And we're shooting ourselves in the foot. But imagine if James Cook had a little bit more responsibility and was allowed to be more effective. And I see it. When we get him going, he is effective in both the running game and in the passing game, and I see why we drafted him to come here and play football for us, with how limited we already ran the football before. But James Cook reminds me a lot of maybe not necessarily the way that they move, but the way that they are able to be used in an offense. He reminds me of Christian McCaffrey, how he can be an effective receiver and an effective runner. So maybe allowing him to kind of be maybe your number 2 option on offense behind Stephon Diggs and kind of find a way to feed him a little bit, man. That's all I'm saying. Hashtag let James cook. So that is the couple things that I want to highlight in my third point for victory formation, Mike. Dalton Kincaid. Make him an instrumental point of this offense. And honestly, the way that Stephon Diggs gets attention, sometimes maybe it might not even be a bad idea to kind of make him a little bit more of the game plan with the way that he can catch the football and the way that he can be effective versus teams, and not just the way that he can catch the football and get open in the field of space, but also how he can break tackles and how he can kind of stretch for a couple extra yards that can be instrumental on third downs or 4th and 2s like with Dawson Knox. So I think involving him a little bit more too would be huge. Now, I see a comment real fast, and we'll take this a little bit here towards the end after we do the pain train segment here. We'll talk about this right here as far as no, not that. My bad. If Brandon Beane has the balls to make a trade, what would we like to see potential wise coming into Buffalo? Positional wise. We'll talk about that here in just a brief moment. But Mike, let's go ahead and go into our next segment here of the Pain Train's defensive keys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's play this video, and it's third down. Here's my defensive key. Don't have the referees that were in the same last game against us, on the field this week. No, but in all seriousness, Mike, I don't believe the defense is really the area that we need to be so concerned about. Even with our injuries to Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White, I understand they're all pro caliber players, and I'm not saying that we necessarily have the guys to just replace that level of production, but we are seeing the defense still performing very well. So how do we do that? Let's stop the run game that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will try to throw at us with Rachaad White. And let's also find a way to take Rachaad White out of the passing game, too, because that's the way that he has been an effective running back for the Buccaneers this year. Now, I want to see an immense amount of pressure on Baker Mayfield this week. The Buccaneers and their offense have found ways to get it going with Baker Mayfield, and I think that Baker Mayfield is seeing a little bit of a revamp in his career with this team. Mike, but if you get pressure on him, you make him feel uncomfortable, and you take away the run game, they're not going to have a way to have the offense on the field at all. But I'm going to go ahead and pair this hand in hand. Alongside of the defense getting off the field, if you want to defensively win this game, the offense is going to have to come out and keep their own defense off the field. So I'm going to pair it back to the offense. I'm looking at defensive and everything. We're okay. It's the offense right now that we've got to focus on the keys for. So if I could see the offense get it done defensively, if we've been doing what we've been doing every single week with the way that A.J. Epinesa gets it going, the way that Greg Rousseau gets it going, the way that we can use Taron Johnson in the blitz, Jordan Poyer, the way that our safeties are capable of playing too. I know they've had some missed tackles and some missed opportunities, but guys, with the way that we are drawing up this defense, man, this team is scary. If the offense could just give us a tad bit of what we saw in 2020, Mike, this team is going to be unstoppable. But with that being said, Mr. Mike Shimburski, what do you got for us for the defensive keys for the Buffalo Bills versus the Tampa Bay Bucs on Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, so the keys there for defense, for me anyways, is the win on first and second down. You got to win on first and second down and put them in third and long situations that force them to have to throw the football and make it so that it's not 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, even 3rd and 4 is it's a manageable first down if they just get a short completion and the guy turns it upfield. I'm talking 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. Force them into those situations where Baker Mayfield himself has to drop back and try to find a guy in his face. If the Bills can put the pressure on him and force him into 3rd and long situations all game long while the offense is doing their thing and scoring points and they're playing catch up, that can cause some things to go wrong for the Buccaneers where he forces some throws trying to make something happen, and the Bills can get some turnovers and some good field position, setting up that offense again for another scoring drive. Win on first and second down is off the key.
Mike, good stuff, man. Appreciate it very much, and I appreciate all the comments from Mr. Joey Hatch and all the viewers out there right now. Appreciate everybody for the likes and shares. If you have not already done so, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, hit that react button, hit the share button, join us here in the comments. If you're watching on Twitter, hit the retweet button and join us on YouTube at Buffalo Sauce God, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn those notifications on so you don't miss the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show or the Sit Down or any of the content coming for your guys' source of daily entertainment and daily sports entertainment. So, Mike, let's keep it rolling here, brother. I want to talk about this comment real fast. If Brandon Beane has the balls to make a trade, what would we like to see positional-wise coming into Buffalo, Mike? I'm going to say I want to see Pat Surtain coming to Buffalo. I would love the way that he plays football, and he's, in my opinion, maybe top 3 defensive backs in the NFL right now. With the absence of Tre'Davious White, I think that could just bolster down the defense a little bit more. I know some people are talking about offensively. If I'm going to go out there and get a receiver in the market, I'm not going to get DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going back to that topic. I'm just not doing it. I'm not going back to that whole train. You know what I'm saying? But I'll talk to you about Jerry Jeudy. Devontae Adams ain't getting traded to the Bills. There's no way on earth, that's going to go well for us anyways. You got one unhappy superstar over there, and everybody's already talking about Stephon Diggs being unhappy, even though that's 100% not true. I think Jerry Jeudy could be a good thing to add to the offense as well. But I think really that we don't need to necessarily make the big splash trade offensively. I think we could use it defensively for the way that we're seeing sometimes, especially when we're going to go against teams like Miami. We're going to need to really bolster up that secondary, Mike. But what do you think as far as if we were going to make a trade, what would you like to see positional-wise coming to Buffalo before the trade deadline?
Yeah, linebacker. At this point, they need depth. Either linebacker or defensive line. And, people might want to disagree with me and think that we need all this stuff on offense. I don't think that there's a lot that needs to change on the offense besides execution and finding what works. That they have the personnel there, and they also don't have nearly as many injuries as the defensive side of the ball has. What I will say is it's also easier to come in and learn a defense if you are familiar with the scheme already. You are automatically going to have a familiarity with that defense much sooner and faster than if you bring in a brand new guy from a whole different scheme that they were running over in whatever team they were playing for that isn't Dorsey's scheme. Some language might be the same, but you're not going to know the playbook in a week or 2 weeks or hell, even 3 weeks. It's going to take a while for you to learn all the plays that they have in their arsenal. You'll learn the important ones, and then I'm sure a lot of stars are very good at catching up. Right? But I'm saying it's a hell of a lot easier to come in and play defense in a scheme you're familiar with than it is to try to learn a whole offensive playbook. So I would much rather this far into the season, you got to bolster that defense that's all injured. And so it's either linebacker or defensive line for me.
I like that, Mike. So let's go on to the next segment here of the NFL Power Rankings update, and this one's a little bit trickier. We're seeing, the Niners lose back-to-back weeks. Brock Purdy goes down and isn't concussion protocol. We're seeing the Eagles beat the Miami Dolphins. So, Mike, as far as the NFL Power Rankings update, what do you got for me, 1 through 5?
Yeah, I got the Chiefs at number 1, only because it continues to win no matter what. And then I got the Eagles because they beat the Dolphins. The Ravens look pretty good, so I have the Ravens there. And then the Dolphins right after them. And then San Fran down at my bottom on the just tailing it up on the 5th team there. And Buffalo just outside of the top 5.
I like that. By the way, real quick shout out to Dan Kelly, the host of the Kelly Cast, who will be live after us. Make sure to check him out as well on his social medias as well. 2 of my favorite dudes. We appreciate you very much, guys. Check out the Kelly Cast. Really great content over there as well.
Thanks, Dan.
So, Mike, as far as NFL Power Rankings update, I've got it 1. I've got the Ravens. I think the Ravens defensively and the way that Lamar Jackson and that offense are starting to click, it's terrifying. Okay? And they're doing this without J.K. Dobbins. Gus Edwards is being used really well in this offense. Zay Flowers is getting it going. Mark Andrews is being utilized. Lamar Jackson just had one of his better games again as a quarterback, over 350 yards passing, no interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 1 running. I mean, the guy is an absolute animal. At 2, I'm going to put the Kansas City Chiefs. Or, I'm sorry, I'm going to put the Eagles. And that's just because they're still, in my opinion, they just got to the Super Bowl. You got to put them there. Kansas City Chiefs are going at 3. The Niners are going at 4. And at 5, Mike, this is where I get a little stuck. At 5, I kind of want to put, just to be unbiased, Miami. I'm going to give it to Miami. You know what I'm saying? I got to give it to Miami. I know they just lost the Eagles, sure, but where did Detroit go for you guys after falling to Lamar and Baltimore? As far as Detroit, I think they're still a young team figuring it out with, a coach who's still figuring it out with his team and figuring out how to build everything properly. And hey, Detroit's going to be one of those teams that competes if they continue to go the way and trend the way that they are as an organization and as a franchise. But I think Detroit definitely fell to probably still inside the top 10 as far as power rankings for me, Mike. But what do you got?
Yeah, I got them at so I have him at 7, I believe. I had him in my top 5, I believe not even just a week ago. But yeah, they showed some weaknesses, and I agree with you. They're a young team, but hell, it's something to be excited about if you're a Detroit fan with how long that's been a drought. So I mean, hell, they're, like I said, they're in the top 10, just behind the Bills and maybe the Texans.
Really great stuff. By the way, I appreciate the guys in the comments, Joey Hatch, for saying that he can post his podcast on the page. Awesome stuff, man. And also, Dan Kelly, thank you for tuning in. Everybody, thank you so far for tuning in. We still have a couple segments to go, and the best segments of the show by far. If you're just now tuning in, though, hit the react button, hit the share button, join us here in the comments. You're live here in the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show, presented by www.buffalosauceguy.com, your source for daily entertainment as well as merchandise options, especially if you want to get some great apparel options and great game day stuff for your Bills experience. And also presented by Duff's Famous Wings, the best damn chicken wings. My highest rated chicken wing, by the way, Mike. And also home of the Death Sauce, which is one of the funnier videos that I've put out as far as chicken wing reviews. So let's keep it going here, Mike. We've got the next segment here of the QB Sneak with Mike Shimburski, where he's going to evaluate Josh Allen's current level of play and what he's got to do in this following game to continue being an all-world quarterback. Mike, let's go ahead. Let's play this next video for you, brother. And let's get the QB Sneak with Mike Shimburski.
And now for the QB Sneak with your co-host, Mike Shimburski.
Mike, take it away. Hey, Mike, you're muted, brother. The QB Sneak, hey, the QB Sneak, guys, is Mike just being really quiet. The QB snuck by. Hold on, let's go ahead. Let's play the video one more time, Mike, and then let's go ahead. Let's do the QB Sneak. We got to do it. Let's go. There you go. Take 2.
And now for the QB Sneak with your co-host, Mike Shimburski.
4th and 1, Josh Allen finds the first down, but with the first down comes Mike Shimburski with the QB Sneak. Take it away, brother. I think you're still muted.
Where I'm at with it is Mac Jones, though, also had 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a QB rating of 126.7. So Mac Jones outplayed Josh Allen last week. That's frustrating. I don't know if you know, but Josh Allen's supposed to be a hell of a lot better of a quarterback than Mac Jones. So I agree with that. And so they need to stop taking away from what Josh does best, and that's what needs to happen against Tampa Bay. Josh needs to run when he needs to run, and they need to let him do it and let him play his game. I'm tired of him running around on 4th and 2 or 3rd and 3 or these short yardage situations, and if it ain't there, he has the legs to extend plays. If he's scrambling and it ain't there, just go, man. Just go. That's what I need to see against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just don't want to see him thinking so much about what everyone's going to say after the play is over and just play football. We've said it all this whole episode. That's something that we keep repeating, and that's clearly what we mean. And so that's what I need to see against Tampa Bay. The fact that his stat line is so close to Mac Jones, who I'm in my opinion, I don't care what anyone says, Mac Jones is terrible. He is not a good quarterback. He doesn't even have, to me, an elite arm to be an NFL quarterback. There's certain routes he can't even throw, and it's on the Bills' defense. But the fact that those stat lines are so similar is frustrating. So he needs to pick it up. And honestly, if I'm Josh, I'm going to ignore what the coaches say all the time, play smart and be safe and all that. I'm throwing it all out the window, and I'm putting my Superman cape on, and I'm just winning this game because, unfortunately, we're in a situation where this is a must-win, and it's so early in the season to be talking about that. So run more, think less.
I like that very much, Mike. Good stuff, and that's the QB Sneak with Mike Shimburski, a daily segment, or I'm sorry, a weekly segment that we do here in the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live at Buffalo Sauce God, and on Anthony Bomasudo on Facebook. And this is also live Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, presented by www.buffalosaucegod.com and Duff's Famous Wings. And I want to thank everybody so far. I hate to say it, but they have done absolutely nothing to help Mac Jones, and I don't even like him. And even Shannon Sharp and the boys said he has been mishandled. I think so. In a way, I could see that. Especially with Matt Patricia as his offensive coordinator. Like, Matt Patricia wasn't just coaching the defense a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I could see how New England definitely has mishandled some of the situation for the kid. But Mike, that's going to take us into our final segment here, which is presented by Duff's Famous Wings of Getting Saucy right here with the Sauce God. And let's go ahead, let's play this next video and get this whole thing kicking off if I can find the video. And there it is. Here we go. Getting Saucy.
Yeah.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Ice cold, nice refreshing Labatt Blue on a fierce storm behind JA-17.
The cold front is what that is.
I'm fired up this week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get you fired up. Bills Mafia, want to hear me getting saucy this week? It's simple. Mac Jones and the New England Patriots, and also, too, the Miami Dolphins, and anybody that's got anything bad to say. Bills by a billion, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Bills.
Getting saucy this week is simple. Let me tell you, Mike, I don't understand what the Bills are doing some days, but at the end of the day, I love my damn Buffalo Bills, and I love Bills Mafia, and I love Josh Allen, and I love Sean McDermott, and I love this damn team. But when Mac Jones comes out and has his best damn game in a whole freaking season, revamping his career, it gets me a little saucy, right? It gets me a little pissed off, right? So all I'm saying is, what I need from the Buffalo Bills this week is on defense, I need you to come out and get rid of Baker Mayfield's intentions on being a good quarterback in the NFL ever again. Hypothetically, right? Not really, just theoretically. Because I like Baker Mayfield, and I think that we don't want to, invoke too much havoc. But at the end of the day, I need that Bills pass rush to get after it. I need the Bills secondary to bolster up. But I need that Bills offense, Mike, to finish drives, to move the football, to not drop passes, to continue to have each other's backs and not shoot themselves in the foot, to make play after play, to score 7 points at a time instead of 3 or 0. I need the Bills to finish and show exactly why this Bills team is a Super Bowl favorite. It's a Super Bowl contender, but they have to do it this week, and it starts on Thursday night. One drive at a time, one play at a time, and that's how you're going to handle it. How you going to handle it? Simple. Hashtag let James cook. Feed Dalton Kincaid. Stephon Diggs, he's going to get it. Let him be a dog. But guys, no drop passes. Josh, go out there, be you. Don't be afraid to run the football. Pick up some first downs with your legs. Make teams respect you. And why don't you go out there and deal a bruising to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Go out there and deal a freaking bruising, because that's exactly what the Buffalo Bills need to do at this point to see exactly what their identity is and what's made them such a great team with one of the best quarterbacks in the game of football right now, Mike. And that's me getting saucy this week right here on the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show. We're live every Wednesday night, guys, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for us to break down the action of the previous game for the Buffalo Bills and also the upcoming game against whoever they're going to be playing against. So this week we covered the Bills Patriots. We covered around the NFL for week 7. And we also Covered a little bit about the Bills, Buccaneers Thursday night. Mike, my co-host, where do people find you?
They can find me at Twitter, Mike Shimburski at MIKOL2531, and then just Mike Shimburski on Facebook. Listen, I love to talk shop. You can talk to me about quarterback play. You can talk to me about the show. I'm willing to talk any of these times, and feel free to comment, watch the show, call in. We're going to be having that segment coming up, so I'm all for it.
I like it very much, Mike. Good stuff, guys. Make sure to check me out at Buffalo Sauce God across all social media platforms. And also, check out the Sauce God and Shimburski show every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, presented by www.buffalosaucegod.com and Ducks Wings Wings. Make sure to check out the Sit Down on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and on the Roku TV app at 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday mornings and Monday mornings, guys. That's going to do it for us this week in the Sauce God and Shimburski Sports Show. We'll see you next Wednesday, Bills Mafia. As always, God bless, and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Switch it up, make progress in the mindset. How you digest, trying to take my words out of context. When I flex on them, work hard, talk less. Stay with your chest, real tea in my veins, no threats. This is real 24, volume 1, nigga. I'm whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it. Watch it get saucy. Whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it.